abqpodcast.com. If you haven't signed up for our email list, you better get on it. abqpodcast.com. It'll pop right up. I encourage you to sign up for that. If you're not getting our email newsletter, you are missing out. Also, make sure you leave a review. Apple, Spotify, like it on Spotify. On Apple, please leave us a review. That's the one thing that you can do. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for anything. That's the one thing that you can do that'll help us out. It helps the algorithms, and it makes it to where other people can see this. So if this is a help to you, this podcast, if you're learning about leadership, about business, about marketing, whatever it may be, I encourage you to do those few things for us. It makes it way more awesome for all of us. I want to talk about Brené Brown, and many of you may have. If you haven't, she has a podcast, ton of books. I got an email from Sketchplanations, and it's really cool. These like little stick figures. And this one was really awesome. And they took this teaching from her. And it's clear is kind. Clear is kind. If you think about that, clarity, giving somebody clarity is kindness. If you're unclear about expectations, maybe you're fuzzy, you're being passive aggressive on what really needs to happen, what you really need to do, or maybe you don't want to have the conversation with the person because you hate confrontation, you're being unkind. You're actually making it about you. And leadership, it's not about you. Just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean that you need to be unkind to that other person. It actually sets people up to fall. That's what she talks about. You're setting people up to fall because they're living in this, Jordan Peterson talks about this too, living in this fog. You're just living in this fog. And in this fog, you don't know where you're going, what you're seeing. You may step off a cliff. You're going to fail. And it creates problems. Not just now, but it can create problems in the future. Because you have people on your team as a leader. You have people on your team that you need to seek clarity with them. That's your responsibility as a leader. And if you're not coaching and giving clear feedback, guess what? You hold that person back from them using their talents, abilities, and gifts to improve. What does that look like? Being clear. Let me give you an example. Susan, I want to be really, really clear with this project that we have that's going on, and I want to make sure that you understand it. First, I want you to tell me about what you're viewing the project from the meeting that we had. Be clear with me on it and let me, so I can see if we're on the same page or not, because the number one thing we could do is both of us be on the same page. Then be quiet, let her talk for as long as, and then so she talks for 5 minutes about it. And then say this, always say this, and what else? And that's the most important thing to listen to. And then you're going to be like, well, she started off good and then she went way off. I had the plane going from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. Now I wound up in Baltimore because we're 1 degree off. See how quickly that can happen? So it's like, don't interrupt her. Let her speak her mind. If you need to write down, tell her, I'm going to write down some notes. Write down the things that she's wrong in. Write down the things that she nailed. And then go through them with her. So, say, this is perfect. What you said here, here, and here, absolutely perfect. Exactly what the executive team was thinking. Exactly what we're going to do as a team. Those are awesome. We're going to execute on those, and I'm glad you're clear on those. Now, this and this, here's the key. Do it this way. This and this, how do you think we can gain more clarity on that? And maybe me as a leader, I haven't expressed myself in these two things because I don't think that we have unity on these two things. Do you see how giving clear feedback helps them improve and gives you unity? Now, if you don't do that, the project comes out and it comes out all wrong. Then they come in and you're frustrated and you're yelling at them. It's the fog again. It's a damp, dirty fog. It's horrible. Creates black ice if it gets really cold. It freezes on the concrete. Next thing you know, on the asphalt, next thing you know, you're driving right off the road. Think of it that way. Time frames. Think about that. You weren't clear on a time frame. Next thing you know, it's Monday morning. Your boss is asking for where this is at. You go back to Susan. Susan said, well, you didn't give me a time frame on it. I just thought this was a medium priority. I didn't know this was an ultra high priority. You see what I'm saying? And then there's anger. And then now she feels like you let her down. And she's like, well, he didn't tell me the time. The big one, and some of you tend to do this, you passive aggressive, introvert kind, and I'm introverted, so is to say that something's really fine when it's not. It's a lie. You're upset about something, you're like, no, it's fine. Be clear on it. Now, don't be clear on why you're upset. Go take a walk. Go walk around. Get yourself where you can logically be clear in your head, and then call the person in your office and have a meeting with them. And it's not easy. It's not easy seeking clarity. But I'm telling you, it becomes easier over time. I know it seems like, I know it seems like it's really hard to do, especially if you are the passive aggressive type and you're like, well, things kind of work out anyways. I mean, majority of the time, most of the time I'm getting things done, but you have different people that have different personalities with you. They don't know. We talked about this last podcast. They don't know your values. And they're trying to fit into the culture of the family that's at work there, because that's what it should be viewed as. And so I encourage you, this will be a short podcast today because I want you to be done with this podcast, and I want you to write down a list of things that you need to be clear with. Maybe it's with a partner, a relationship. Maybe it's somebody at work. I want you to write it down. I want you to get clear on that, and then I want you to have a conversation today. I don't want you to wait on this. I want you to do this right now. This will be a very important thing you can do, and this will start you on the right road. And if you need to make a screensaver on your computer, your desktop, write clarity on there. Make a little... whatever it takes, little sticky note, put clarity wherever you need to next to your computer. But gain clarity. I want you to practice it right now.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.